Quinty, the economy.
Debate, the honourable member for Scarborough Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and congratulations to you on your new role. Affordable housing and the high cost of safe and suitable housing is one of the biggest issues for the residents of my riding of Scarborough Centre. So I welcome the opportunity to speak to this pressing issue and share some of the solutions our government is already working on, which, unlike the few actual specifics proposed in this motion, actually can and are addressing this issue in a serious and meaningful way. Our government is committed to ensuring that Canada's communities are healthy, sustainable, and productive places to live and prosper. An essential part of attaining that goal is making housing affordable and accessible. In the speech from the throne, we have committed to further investment in housing that will see more units built, increase affordable housing, and ultimately put an end to chronic homelessness in Canada. In fact, investments in affordable housing are front and center in our government's effort to build diverse, inclusive communities that strengthen our economy and support our continued prosperity. Everyone deserves a safe, secure, and affordable place to call home. Since 2015, our government has invested close to $30 billion in housing, and we have helped create more housing for over 1 million Canadians from coast to coast to coast. That is why we introduced Canada's first ever National Housing Strategy in 2017, a 10-year, $72 billion plan that is improving housing affordability for all Canadians. Mr. Speaker, the National Housing Strategy addresses housing security needs with an emphasis on populations made vulnerable, such as seniors, Indigenous people, and women and children fleeing domestic violence. And by supporting climate-compatible, resilient, and affordable housing, we are taking important steps to support Canada's climate change initiative. The National Housing Strategy will help ensure that the current and the next generation of affordable and community housing in Canada is sustainable and built to last. As part of the National Housing Strategy, we have introduced the Rapid Housing Initiative, a $2.5 billion program to finance the construction of modular housing, as well as the acquisition of land and the conversion of existing buildings to affordable housing. I had an opportunity earlier this year to take part in the announcement of a modular housing announcement in my riding with the City of Toronto, a 57-unit supportive housing site that will be managed by a non-profit housing provider. This is the kind of initiative that makes a real and immediate difference in the lives of people made vulnerable across Canada. Let me talk about another program, the Rental Construction Financing Initiative. This program has seen incredible uptake since it was launched 5 years ago, and it is making a real difference for middle-class Canadians. It is a well-known fact that there is a shortage of purpose-built rental supply in Canada. Many of our cities have extremely low vacancy rates. This has driven up prices to the point where the very people who make our cities run can no longer afford to live in them. We can't just keep pushing the middle class to the suburbs if we want vibrant, inclusive cities. I see this every day in Scarborough. Our rental stock is old and dated and ill-suited to the needs of the many multi-generation families that call Scarborough home. And people are afraid to move to a new rental housing that may be more suitable, as they just can't afford the massive increases in rent that they have been somewhat shielded from as long-term tenant in their current rental unit. The Rental Construction Financing Initiative addresses this exact problem. It gives developers low-cost loans during the riskiest phases of construction. This helps developers to better predict costs, and they are more incentivized to build rental projects, all while meeting important criteria in terms of affordability, accessibility, and energy efficiency. From the beginning, the program generated great interest from the housing sector. To meet the growing demand, we increased our investments to $13.75 billion. Mr. Speaker, it is estimated that when the rental construction financing initiative comes to an end in 2028, the $26 billion invested will have created more than 71,000 new rental housing units across this country. Or in other words, 71,000 more middle-class families will be able to find housing that they can afford in the cities where they live. We are taking steps to make housing more accessible, more sustainable, and more affordable. These investments will give Canadians a healthier, greener, and more affordable place to call home. And we are helping communities implement more permanent housing solutions by providing them with the flexibility to direct funds towards local priority areas as part of the response to this pandemic. We have heard the concerns of Canadians. They want us to do our part to ensure they have affordable options wherever they are on the housing continuum. We know that housing affordability is a priority for people across Canada, as it is the priority for this government. When I look at the motion from the opposition, I don't see much that will help my constituents in Scarborough. We don't have surplus federal land. Our government is implementing, as of January 1st, 2022, a national tax on non-resident, non-Canadian owners of vacant, underused housing, and we will extend this to include foreign-owned vacant land within large urban areas. We also committed in our platform to temporarily ban new foreign ownership in Canadian housing to ensure that Canadians have more access to purchasing homes. The idea of a capital gains tax on the sale of a primary residence has never been considered by our government. It's a conservative fiction designed to distract from their own lack of serious ideas and a decade of conservative government where they abandon any federal role in housing. And they again decry the support that our government provided to Canadians during this pandemic. This $400 billion they villainize in this motion is money that allowed people in Scarborough and across Canada to make their mortgages and rent payments during the height of the pandemic. It allowed businesses to keep staff on their payroll and stay in business and keep their doors open in the darkest hours. These programs literally allowed people to stay in their homes. Mr. Speaker, how can you say you want to solve the housing crisis when you oppose helping people keep their homes during a pandemic? On this side of the House, we are taking strong action to make a real difference in the lives of families. We laid out that plan in the recent speech from the throne. The government will help families buy their first home sooner with a more flexible first-time home buyers incentive, a new rent-to-own program, and by reducing the closing cost for first-time home buyers. The $4 billion Housing Accelerator Fund will increase the supply of the housing. We are building stronger communities in which people can live, play, work, and do business. And we are committed to working with the municipalities and the provinces and territories as partners to address this housing crisis. Canadians expect serious leadership and collaboration, and that's what we will deliver. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions et commentaires.